Look, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but the reason why your outbound isn't converting has nothing to do with your copy or your offer at all. It's the fact that you're fishing in the same pond as everyone else and wondering why your outbound doesn't convert. And look, before anyone comes at me in the comments, Apollo is a great tool. It's a nice, clean UI, easy to use database, built in sequencer. You can literally go from sending zero cold emails to sending a few hundred cold emails every single day. But for companies and SDRs and people who want to take outbound seriously and scale really hard, it just doesn't cut it, right? You're going to hit a ceiling really, really fast because here's the problem that no one talks about. So the issue with a tool like Apollo is that everybody has access to the same leads as you do, right? So for example, I've put in CEO, owner, founder in the US that recently got funded. Now, every single person or anyone really can just hop on here, put the exact same filter, scrape this exact list. They don't even need a paid Apollo plan. They can just copy this link and they just use the Apollo scraper and get the exact same leads. And the enrichment that Apollo even has and the signals that Apollo has just isn't the best, to be honest. Like, yeah, you have the recently funded stuff, but ideally, there's probably more CEOs, founders, and owners who've been recently funded, right? This signal, by the way, is probably across what, like 3 to 6 months. And if someone is 6 months, or if they got funded 6 months ago, they might not even be the best fit for your services. And so the signal itself on Apollo isn't really the best. It does the job. It's kind of basic, but again, you're hitting the same leads as everybody else, and you're trapped in that same box as everybody else, and so your outbound just doesn't convert because the foundation when it comes to outbound always starts at the list. It depends on who you're reaching out to. Okay, and so if you have great signals, if you have great enrichment, or if you done your market research and you know exactly who you're targeting, it makes it so much easier. But the foundation of all of that is literally just the list that you pull from a database like this. And being fully transparent at massive scale, like if you're at a scale like us where we're sending over 100,000 cold emails a month, it just doesn't cut it. There really isn't any benefit into using a tool like this because it's just too basic for someone like us. Now, if you want to take your outbound to the next level, here's what you should use instead. Now, this is where a tool like Clay completely changes the game. Let me just walk you through this workflow that we built for one of our clients. So this guy, he offers web design for really startups, new founders, home service businesses, as well as a variety of others on. But for this campaign, we wanted to target new founders. So what we did was we used Clay's native filter of recently or new founders who just started a company, right? So here it is right here. Got about 24,000 who just started a new company. Then what we did was we pulled the company LinkedIn to make sure that we have the right person and that they have at least 3 employees. From there, we found their work email, right? Because this company LinkedIn column here matters a ton. You don't want to reach out to the bad quality leads, right? If we reach out to 24,000 people, it just wouldn't make the most sense. And we actually boiled it down from 24,000 to just 1.8K. And again, I'll just walk you through the process of how we did that. But then we found the company LinkedIn, which I'll put it right here. And from that company LinkedIn, we were able to find their email address. And again, after we found their email address, we then boiled it down to, okay, who is their ICP? Who do they want to go after for this target market? And the reason we did this was in our outreach campaign, we're talking about, hey, we can help you build your website that attracts this type of company. So this type of stuff, you cannot get on a tool like Apollo. Like there's just no way Apollo is going to have something like this that in detail, right? And so once we found their ICP, we then boiled it down to, okay, when did they first start this role? Because again, we don't want to reach out to people who are, even though Clay has this filter of new founders, we don't want to reach out to people who started, today is March 2026. We don't want to reach out to people who started like June of 2025, because technically they're not really the newest founder, but it can still work. From here, we got this text where once we found the founding month, essentially, we pretty much can use this in a cold email and saying, hey, Reno, we saw you founded the company in February, right? or we saw you founded a company in January. And we did not end up, well, we ended up using it for the copy. We split tested what worked, what didn't work. But this is, again, stuff that you just can't pull on Clay, right? Finally, the last enrichment that we did from here was just normalizing the company name to make sure that, again, it just sounds good and sounds clean. Because if you pull directly from LinkedIn, the company name might sound like Gamic Media Inc. And obviously, we don't want the Inc. in the email because it sounds very automated. So all we did was we told Clayjet, aka OpenAI, to casually refer to it, right? Then we normalized the first name to, again, go from Reno Perry to just Reno. And then from there, we had everything we needed to actually run this campaign. But you see how from start to finish, we boiled it down from 24,000 people that maybe match this criteria to just 1.8K just from that company filter and, using LinkedIn and Clayjet to boil it down into the really nitty gritty to make sure that we're not reaching the people. This type of stuff you just cannot pull on Apollo. You can't pull the when they recently founded the role or who their ICP is or company LinkedIn. Yes, they have tags and filters, but it's just not the most accurate stuff. This stuff, if you can write a prompt to match exactly what you're looking for. You can use Clayton to go to their website, go to their LinkedIn, go to their social media, and find the exact fit. And I guarantee you, this will perform so much more better than if you were to use Apollo, because you can't even pull something like this on Apollo. It's just literally hard. You're not gonna find anyone. And you guys saw that in the other page that I showed you, that even if it was a CEO, owner, founder who was recently founded, it was only like 1,000 people, right? Here we have 24,000 potential candidates, which just goes to show you how big this database is that Clay has. And you just boil it down and you just go really into the nitty gritty and just only target your exact type of customer, right? That is exactly why Clay outperforms Apollo on something like this. So look, if you're just a beginner, if you're just starting into outbound, definitely start with Apollo. It's super easy to use. It's super easy to get into. You can get your feet wet. But once you start picking up the momentum and once you start learning more and more about outbound, there just really isn't much of a need to use something like Apollo. You should be using tools like Clay and other enrichment tools like Lead Magic, AI Arc, Prospeo, whatever it may be, instead, and enrich that onto Clay rather than just using pure Apollo, because it's just not going to cut it for you once you start getting over that, let's say, over 10,000 cold emails a month mark, or 5,000 even cold emails a month mark. Apollo is a great tool, but Clay is a weapon that can literally change your entire outbound go-to-market system. So to kind of recap, ladies and gentlemen, Apollo is, again, great for speed, great for beginners. It's super easy to get started on. Don't sleep on it if you're just getting started. But the issue that you'll run into when you run purely Apollo is that everyone's pulling the same list, everyone's reaching out to the same leads. There's just no enrichment logic in the data. There just has a hard ceiling, right? Clay, you can personalize and get really into nitty gritty of exactly who you're targeting, what to say in the email, why you're targeting that specific person, lead scoring, as well as any enrichment process that it may have, right? The difference isn't just data, it's the difference between a actual just regular list and a full-on outbound go-to-market system. And so I highly recommend use Clay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a B2B business making over $30,000 a month or more and you want more leads, click the link below to chat with me and we can see if we can help you do just that. If you're not, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.